Hello, everyone, and good evening. My name is Jodinar, aka Jody. Is some people find it strange to say Jodinar because it's a little difference of a screen name. So you just go with what all my friends call me in person. Just call me Jody. Makes life easier that way. Now, before we begin, I want to break this video down into kind of two separate parts. One part, I want to tell you a little bit about me personally. And the second part is basically what I think maybe YouTube and Twitch would like to see. At least based off stuff I'm interested in. But, there you go. That's the golden rule, right? Everybody's just trying to figure out what to do. So, first off, uh, I'm a husband. I have a lovely wife. You might see her pass by from time to time, to her displeasure. She doesn't really like to get on camera or anything. Very shy like. Uh, Next, I have a brother. You might see me gaming with him on my channel from time to time. I have mother and father. Very lucky to have them. They've always been very good to me. Um, but anyway, that's about it for that. I do have a few really good friends. Uh, I don't know if they would appreciate me, talking about them on here or not. Should probably ask them permission first. So, you know. I suppose next, well, as you see, uh, words. So basically, I work at a fuel station uh, at a rather well-known company. They don't really like me to say the name of the company online, which is totally understandable. But some days you may see me on here grieving and griping about my job. Although it's not as horrible as some jobs could be, but we all gotta let it out sometimes. Otherwise, it all just builds up in here and, you know, not healthy. Mm-mm. So, other than that, there's not really much else to me. I live in the southeast United States. Um, kind of in the Florida, Georgia, Alabama kind of regions. Or is it Arizona right next door? I suck at geography. But in any case, yeah, southeast United States. Um, it's a little bit warm this time of year. It's just barely the start of March, and it's already like 72 degrees or so, which is not bad weather, mind you. But it's a little warmer than I like for the very end of winter. We didn't get much winter at all this year. The coldest it got was like 45 degrees, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, you guys aren't here to talk about the weather. The point is, it's nice and muggy here. Sorry for clearing my throat a lot. It's not practiced, I should say. Um, when you're on video, it's like, oh, I need to be talking constantly. Yeah, I need to make sure I have everything I want to say in my head and say it. and you know any kind of downtime, any kind of long drawn out statement. Uh, it just affects quality of the video. Yeah, it's that's just how it is. Yeah, I don't like to see somebody that's so rambly and such. But then here I go rambling about rambling. But anyway, let's get to some more fun stuff, I guess. So, as you may see around me in this video, I am quite into some video games. I love some video games. And let's just say I've got two favorites. One, World of Warcraft, Wrath of the Lich King specifically. There's a private server I play on, and I don't know. I appreciate the opportunity to play a version of the game that I enjoy. You know, some people will be like, "Oh, well, you know, you probably shouldn't do that," or "Oh, you know, you're just dumb and stupid. Your opinions don't matter because you play an old version of the game." I deal with that quite a lot, but I don't know. I just like Wrath of the Lich King. It's a lot better than any other version, in my opinion. Now, to all you vanilla heads out there, you know, you like what you like. I like what I like. Wrath of the Lich King just hit the nail on the head for me. My other favorite is old school RuneScape. I know you guys are probably already like, oh, all his content's gonna be boring because it's old stuff and in the past. Well, when it comes to RuneScape, you're right. You know, I don't know what he'll do on there. I'm still figuring out the game. Hell, I'm like level 92, and I've never come once close to getting max or anything. Like my highest level on that is like 83 cooking and 84 fishing. I like doing a lot of fishing on there. But I think eventually I'll get into the raiding content. Yeah, that's right. For those who don't know, Old School RuneScape has raiding in it. And it's pretty fun. It has a lot of cool rewards. Uh, Very valuable rewards that you can only get from those raids. Uh, but of course, you can sell them on the Grand Exchange, which everybody and their grandmother does. But I'll say this: even the crappiest of the gear that came from there was in the double-digit millions for like the first 2 3 months. Din's Bulwark, for example. It is this two-handed shield, and while you have it in the defensive combat stance, it reduces. I forget what the ratio of damage is, but it reduces all PvE damage by a lot of damage. However, it does not work in PvP. It also has a special attack in which you slam the ground really hard. It's very similar to the Dragon two-handed sword, but you slam it on the ground and it does like a 3x3 block area, and it just totally decimates anything around you. And I like the weapon, but mm, I ended up selling it. Mainly it swung too slow as a weapon, which it does a fair amount of damage, but it it doesn't have as good a strength bonus as a lot of weapons, you know. And it's a shield, you know. It's not supposed to have a lot of damage. But yeah, I like the game. You might be able to tell. Moving on. If I had to choose a third favorite among this list, that would probably have to be either Magic the Gathering Arena or IRL card game. I uh, I might enjoy the game a little bit too much. Uh, I say sitting with a bag full of like 30 pounds of cards and a giant flat case full of them. But anyway, uh, yeah, I like some Magic the Gathering. Let's see. Although if we want to get away from the card games and get more back into technically actual video games, I would have to say Minecraft is a good one. You know, some people say, "Oh, it's for kids." Oh, whatever. I like Minecraft. It's fun to play. I enjoy it. I do not enjoy the Windows 10 edition. I do not enjoy the Pocket edition. Basically, I don't enjoy those editions because A, you have to pay money to do mods and stuff, which is absolutely insane. Microsoft, what are you doing? Uh, well, I know what they're doing. They're trying to make money, but if they'll just tend to the game, keep releasing good updates, regular content, then they would get a better, wider audience, and the game would still stay relevant. But anyway, I like the Java edition. That's what I grew up on. It's good. You can mod it to hell. You don't have to pay nothing extra to mod the game that you already bought. And yeah, it's just easier to connect to other people as well. I mean, sure, you don't have the cross compatibility of Windows 10 edition and Pocket edition, and technically Xbox edition. In my opinion, Minecraft is a computer game. It's not a console game. It's certainly not a tablet game. It's a PC game. But for a long time on Minecraft, I ran a kind of Dungeons and Dragons themed server. Um, Basically, you join the game, you choose a class, you choose two professions to go with it. Very similar to the startup in World of Warcraft, but all the items were renamed to be like you know, it'd start out with just a basic sword, which is stone sword. We're not even gonna talk about wooden swords. They're a joke. Uh, then there was, I think it went up to steel or masterwork, something like that, and then it went up to mithril and adamantine and all that mess. But yeah, so it was fun. It was a lot of work put into it. I'll say that definitely. That used basically an entire year, maybe two of my spare time. Uh, a few of my friends played on it. It lasted a little while. I ended up making dungeons in it, kind of like dungeons you would find in WoW as well. But it's also one that you would also be able to find in like a Dungeons and Dragons adventure. Like I made this one dungeon called Arachnophobia. It was basically this giant old tree. Think Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. You have the Skeletas, you have all the webs and stuff everywhere, and then you have the jump from the top to the bottom going through that one very big web. I kind of did my own rendition of that with the help of my wife. Um, she's very good with command blocks and such like that, and very good with math, which I am not. But I'll say this: it was quite a fun adventure. It was difficult, challenging. A true gamer would want to play through it. Um, the only issue is, of course, when you get your friends that are already playing the server to beta test it, and then they go through it again after the fixes from the beta test, it's a little lackluster, you know? It's like they were able to find fun, cool things that you could do in the beta version and not the original, or not the complete version. But of course, there were also some things in the beta that were killing them in one shot, or poisoning them too much and too often, and other things as that. But basically, they would go in, they would have to smash open this stone seal, which some Orcus shamans put in place to trap this evil spider queen up inside this tree, right? And like this is the world tree, uh, at least as far as the shamans believe. Uh, so they trapped uh, the spider queen that came to kind of take over the forest, make it her own domain. And basically, it would be basically Mirkwood from Lord of the Rings. You know, full of spiders. Everyone would be threatened by the spiders. Yada yada yada. So they ended up tricking her into the inside of the world tree, claiming that there were vast treasures and riches in there that she could use to, you know, fuel her uh, takeover. Well, she gets in there, she gets sealed away. They put this giant boulder in place, put a magical seal on it, and they basically sit around and wait for some brave adventurers to come by and break the seal, go inside, and defeat the Spider Queen. Well, the Spider Queen was what's the word? Intelligent? Sure. Uh, it's a word where something, whatever. Basically, this Spider Queen wasn't just a spider. She could talk. She could do things like a person could, you know, like a human, humanoid, whatever. Sentient. That's the word. And you know, some of the shamans didn't feel, you know, okay putting, you know, just trapping this sentient being. You know, people were calling her a monster. People were calling her, you know, basically what she was, just one that could talk. And so they split off from the shaman group, the shaman tribe, and basically became witches, which is kind of the backstory to the witches in the world in my Dungeons and Dragons Minecraft world. Yeah, that's why the witches are there. Yada yada yada. Yeah, rare random spawn witches. Woo. They were basically shamans that fell away from the original tribe of shaman. But anyway, so these witches worked to try and break her out early, you know, before the prophesized heroes could show up and defeat her. And it almost worked, but heroes arrived just as prophesized, and they go in, bust open the stone, work their way through several spider nests that she's created over the time. Lots of poisonous spiders. Special spiders I scripted have like poisonous shots and all this. Ones that could spit webbing. It was quite a hard dungeon, actually. You know, even for me. And I say even for me, I'm not saying I'm skilled, but as the one who made it and knew to expect what was around every corner, it was still a challenge. Even though I wasn't surprised, it was still a challenge, and I think I think that's the right level of difficulty. You don't want surprise, shock, and awe to be your main cause of difficulty because, you know, if the person goes in prepared the next time to run the dungeon to get more treasure, these dungeons reset, by the way, of course. If these, if your players are going in and the main thing that throws them off is surprise, what is the replayability? You know? Oh, there's gonna be a spider around this corner, boys. Watch out. That's not difficulty. That's just shock and awe, and that wears off after one or two runs. Now, somebody would tell some other game developers that, but anyway. So, moving on from Minecraft. Good God. Or should I? Yeah. So, as far as Ark goes, uh, I generally play on the Ragnarok map. I play on the small tribes official servers. I don't like joining into unofficial because a it's not guaranteed that they'll be there the next time you go to play. You know, either they're going to be down, either they're going to be just simply discontinued, which has happened to me a couple times on them. So I play on the official Ragnarok servers. There is Worlds Adrift here. That's a game I'm still learning and getting into. Still learning to love it per se. Uh, I think the main issue with it is that it is very confusing because the tutorial treats you like it's holding your hand and like it's perfectly explaining everything, but it's not. Their inventory is a little wonky. Your skill trees and all that, they look weird. They're not explained very well. And when it comes to building your ship in it, your flying ship, that's a little crazy. What was crazy for me was the first time I tried it, it was apparently bugged. No, Cortana, stop. What are you doing? But apparently the first time I tried it, like tried steering the actual ship, it was apparently bugged. There was no way it was actually going to drive without me actually logging out and then logging back in and hoping it worked. Because the next time I logged in, it was actually moving around and such, but it had apparently been moving around when I thought it was not moving around. If that makes sense. It's like the first attempt, I was there on the ship, turning on the dials, you know, pivoting the joystick and all, trying to get the ship to move. And apparently, during all that time, it was actually moving. But on my screen, to me, it looked like I was just standing in place on a very clumsily crafted ship in the sky. But when I logged back in, the ship was halfway across the little island I was on. So it had apparently been moving. Just I didn't know. So given that it's a PvP based game, part of me is like, do I want to get into that? Do I want to face those kind of bugs in a PvP based game? What if I go hopping onto a ship, trying to drive it, and then I don't know if I'm driving or not? And then, oh look, my ship is just gone because somebody's realized I had the bug, and it's just, destroying the ship I made. And it takes quite a bit of time to farm up the materials to actually build the ship. Granted, and it's gonna sound crazy, the farming is fun. Okay, going around Worlds Adrift. Let's see. Let me add something here. Okay. Display capture. All right. So let's see. Let me pull this over. Worlds Adrift. Lazy Peon has a good way of putting it, but I want to just take a quick little look.
The climbing could use a little bit of work. My character's kind of clipping through the wall.
And hey, Lazy Peon, if you're seeing this, you know, A, I'm a big fan. B, you know, if this ain't cool to put in here, just let me know. I'll clip it out. No problem.
No! That was fucking close. So I can press control and it reels me out and we're dropping down. Oh my god, this is this is really fun. I really appreciate the physics in the climbing right off.
Exactly. That's a big part of the game.
Much direction. It just wanted me to like scan things. Oh my god, this is so we're wrapping around here super quickly. This is so fun. Can we
So what that was is basically you get this claw hook, okay? It's like a hook shot similar to what you find in Legend of Zelda. Oh, let me fix this real quick. Remove. Yes, remove. And there we go. Okay, so there's a bunch of floating islands, right? You got these little rocky nodes on the bottom, which is where you get your metal sources. And when you're finding these metal sources, you're having to swing down to them. You're having to, grapple down, swing down to them, and then you have on your other hand this little kind of like zappy gun boy, and you're just, you know, it's basically like a lightning based drill type thing, and you're having to harvest ore from the bottom side of these islands, and it's just so cool. I love it. Now if all my ships worked, which technically they do apparently, but I've not had so much luck. Alright, so next on the list. And guys, this ain't scripting, this is just having a list of things to talk about, okay? I use lists to keep my head in the right direction. Otherwise, I'd get stuck on one topic and I'd talk about it for hours. And I don't want to upload an intro video hours long, okay? So, Mortal Online, right there. I'm not really focusing on it right now. In fact, I kind of want to take it off this little splash ground because A, they're coming out with Mortal Online 2, but not exactly for the right reasons. You see, the reason they're coming out with Mortal Online 2 is to fully replace Mortal Online 1. You're not going to be able to play Mortal Online 1 anymore. They consider that a beta. They consider that their early access. Okay? Because Mortal Online has been considered a early access game the entire time of its creation. People have invested hardcore money into this game, okay? And they invested it towards this game, Mortal Online. They didn't invest it to go put it into Mortal Online 2, which is going to be allegedly completely different. Mortal Online 2 is supposed to have A, updated graphics, which, thank God, kinda. Modern Online has some pretty good graphics, but it could definitely use better ones. It could use smoothing, better edges. It basically looks like vanilla Skyrim, which is not horrible, except when it is. Now, to me personally, I actually love vanilla Skyrim graphics, you know, but people get higher expectations. But anyway, the other point is they're going to be changing the game from a fully PvP based focus to a PvE PvP kind of hybrid game. And when you have invested a lot of money in becoming the absolute best at this game, there we go. You don't exactly want to you don't exactly want all that hard-earned money that you put in and invested into this game to go into a different game. Does that make sense? It's like let's say I invested a lot of money into Terraria, okay? And they're like, "Okay, thank you guys for playing this game. We're getting rid of Terraria, and instead we're going to build something that looks more like Minecraft." People that like Terraria, some of them like Minecraft, others absolutely hate it. And when you're a regular player of Terraria with, the best items you can get, the most progress you can make, stuff you've put a lot of work into, work, you don't want that to go away, you know? You don't want you don't want your investments going into an entirely different game. And that's one reason why I'm not really paying any more attention to Mortal Online. A, I may end up liking Mortal Online 2 better and play it, and then I'll add Mortal Online 2 onto the splash page. But I kind of talked myself into a weird place there. Anyway, Mortal Online. It's a very good game for what it is. It's basically it's basically a sandboxer with full world PvP and one of the best crafting systems I've ever seen in a game. For example, when you're cooking in WoW, it says exactly what you need. It says, oh, you need uh, two zesty clam meat and some refreshing spring water from a vendor to make some kind of clam soup or something. Mortal Online? Mm-mm. You don't have to pretend you're a real chef when you're in that game. Okay? You go trying to recreate some kind of pie, which you can make anything. That's another good point to it. You can make anything. It's all based on how much liquid you add, how much dry you add, how much specific kinds of dry. Like, are you adding berries? Are you adding fruits? Are you adding flour, wheats, grain? Are you adding meat? And then there's the liquid part. Are you adding, you know, some kind of milk? Are you adding water? Are you adding, what are you adding? You have to take each little kind of ingredient, tell exactly how many micro units you are using in this crafting. Okay, it's uh, it's very in depth. You can get creative, and I want to say the options are practically limitless, but it would be wiser to say the useful options. No, yes, the creation possibilities are limitless. Okay, There's thousands and thousands and thousands of ways you could do it, literally. However, when it comes to the useful options, there's a lot fewer of those. People get in there, they meta, they write down what works best. And that's one thing about Mortal Online is people don't like to share information, which is kind of neat in a way. Usually, if you're wanting to get the best of the best stuff, you can just go on Google, pull up a wiki, and oh, I need to add exactly this amount, and then I need to add exactly this amount of another thing. And look, I just cooked a pie that's going to give me the best health bonus and best health recovery in the game. But in Mortal Online, people either sell these recipes from one player to another by writing in-game books and passing them on. But, simply information is not easy to come by from Mortal Online. And I kind of like it. It makes it so you have to get in. You have to be crafty. You have to discover. You have to explore the opportunities, the trade offs, the costs. You have to figure that out. Nobody's going to tell you. Nobody's going to say, oh, hey, this pie is worth, 5,000 gold. Are you going to pay for it or not? You don't know what that pie does. That pie could give you, like, invincibility or invisibility. You don't know what it does. It could kill you. Literally, they could have literally put poison in it and it kill you. It's very much like Morrowind potion making. Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. It's a lot like potion making there. Except instead of always ending up with muck, you always get some kind of, you know, side effect from ingesting whatever you make. And that's just the cooking. Okay? If you want to really get into the crafting, also go into blacksmithing. Because when you have blacksmithing, you have to have a certain type. There are parts of blacksmithing I didn't even know existed, which is probably a good thing because I know nothing of blacksmithing in person, uh, in the real world. But there were steps to it that it was teaching me. Like, I didn't know that you had to have some kind of special powder while you're forging a blade to make sure it's not too brittle. I didn't know that you had to uh, have a certain type of wood to make sure that something was either sturdier or more lightweight, more brittle. As far as handles and cores go, as far as shield backings go, I didn't know that. It really gets you down into the deep details of crafting, and I absolutely love that. Another good part of the crafting is you can craft anything at any level. Okay? Oh, you want to craft that amazing great sword you see that dude walking by with? You can figure that out. Just go to the library, find a book, get the recipe, do it. You can do it. However, there is RNG chance involved here. Okay? The lower your skill making is, the more crude that particular sword is going to be. So if you got a master blacksmith going crafting the same sword you're crafting, there's a chance your sword could be as good or at least nearly as good. But it's gonna probably way too heavy. Your character's probably gonna be slowed down trying to carry it around because it's so heavy. Uh, you gotta swing it. It's gonna be slow, and that's the main point there. Is speed is a factor in combat. And it's all based on the gear you equip and how that gear you equipped is crafted. I love the game. Okay, Mortal Online is a very good game. Just I'm sad to see it going. Uh, I really hope Mortal Online 2 is good. I'm looking forward to that. Although I'm still a little upset they're getting rid of the old one. Still quite upset they're getting rid of the old one. Let's be honest. Alright, so we've talked over RuneScape, World's Drift, Ark, Magic. Wrath of Lich King, um, it's it's WoW Wrath of Lich King. There's not much I can tell you unless you've never played it. Wrath of Lich King, I play it because it has old talent trees I like. You can actually customize and create your own character basically. It's no more this, oh, you leveled up 15 times. Well, here's a new spell for you, and you get to choose one of these three spells to get. That's how modern WoW is. I don't like it. Modern WoW infuriates me. I'm sorry. So, WoW Wrath of Lich King. It's old. It's good. Uh, Warmain.com. Try it. Uh, Next on the list, we've got Conan Exiles. I love the game, but I feel like it's one you have to have friends to play with. I've tried numerous times to get into, you know, tribes, guilds, whatever on there. Nobody's really very open arms about it, and I can understand having come from Arc. Arc, you can't trust nobody. Mm-mm. Can't trust nobody. Called an Exiles though, it's easy to get stuff there. Okay, I mean, you might have some stuff you won from a boss. You might have some stuff you had to go super deep into a cave to get. There's not much of it though. So it's like there's no point not inviting someone who's really interested in joining because the stuff that they could possibly take from you is very easy to get back. Now, me personally, I like getting my own stuff. Usually when I join up in a tribe or something, I build my own little room. I put all my crap in that room. I lock my chests. I come back the next day. Oh, somebody's broken that chest open, and oh, none of my stuff's there. Granted, that's probably the kind of person they're trying to defend against. But then you also find out that you've also been kicked out of that tribe because oh they didn't trust you or the leader didn't trust you after they found out you joined. So they kicked you out, took your stuff. So they basically did to you what they were afraid you were going to do to them, which is absolutely stupid. Granted, it's a little wise, but it's also stupid. It's wise if you've had to suffer through that a lot, which looking back now and remembering some of the people I ran into on that server, they probably ran into it a lot, so I can kind of understand. But still, take a chance. Invite noobs. Uh, Make sure they're not just a troll. Uh, Run through some trials if you have to. You know, I offered to go through some stuff for people. I offered to go farm for somebody. They still won't let me in their tribe. But that's Conan Exiles for me currently. I do absolutely, I can't say absolutely love the combat system because the way the mobs move around is still buggy. Mobs teleport from place to place. And that's not just lag. That ain't lag talking. I got a good stable connection. I ran, speed test, making sure it's solid, smooth as a whistle. I go play another game, everything's fine. I come back to Conan, stuff's teleporting around. I check my ping to the server, and it's less than 90. That's pretty good. Still suck. So, under the, we talked about Mortal, talked about Minecraft, retro gaming. Basically, I have uh, a lot of video games. I love playing Super Mario World, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Legend of Dragoon, pretty much any of the Final Fantasies up to 6. Anything 7 and forward, I'm just not interested in. They didn't interest me when I was a kid. They don't interest me now. I grew up. I love knights in full sets of armor. I love having more traditional fantasy, I suppose, as opposed to oh, I'm going to be wearing modern day clothes, but I'm going to be walking around with a sword. Oh, there's people using guns, but we're going to walk around with swords. No, that's stupid. There's a number of games I can't get into for that same reason. It's like if you're gonna have a world and it's gonna have guns, have the main protagonist have a gun. You know, if you want to have like a sneaky character who's very good at getting behind those people with the guns and slitting their throats, sure, go for it. That's fun. That's fine. But if your main protagonist is walking around in just a purple T-shirt and some jeans and some old raggedy looking leather boots, and he has a giant sword, tell me why the hell is he able to block a gun? Much less, why isn't he taking extra damage from guns? You know? It's like in Dungeons and Dragons, the Grease Monkeys guide. My friend Aaron gave me that recently as a Christmas present. It had the best system for guns that I could probably think of. Basically, any kind of gun has fleshbane, which is if you're firing at is what is considered a unarmed or unarmored target, that target's going to have to pass a con save, or depending on the gun, they could get knocked prone, they could start bleeding out, they could start doing, they could, you know, get a damaged limb, something. I'm getting a little winded apparently. I talk pretty passionately about games. This is normal for me. But anyway, Fleshbane. It's a good mechanic. And I really think that any kind of fantasy setting that involves having guns and melee weapons as big features, the guns should have that one little perk where it's like, okay, you don't have armor. You're getting hit by this bullet. This bullet's going to do some pretty harsh damage to that, just flesh and bone. That's how it works. Ugh. I have no idea how long this video is getting to. Oh, 48 minutes. Good God. Okay. All right. So, as for the and more, I've got some more games. Uh, you might have seen them on that glimpse of my desktop. And if I move this over, you can see back there I got Star Wars The Old Republic. I rarely play that, but it still has some good memories for me. 7 Days to Die, that's one I absolutely love. I'm probably going to move that up to where Mortal Online is, and eventually put Mortal Online 2 here whenever it comes out. There's Pokemon MMO. It's an amazing thing. If you have not heard of it, if you've not played it, PokeMMO.eu. Very good. It's very fun. Go play it. Especially if you're kind of a very classic fan of Pokemon. It basically starts off with you. You can choose to start off in the Fire Red starting region, Kanto. You can choose to start off in Hoenn, or you can start off in the place wherever Black and White take place. I don't know the name of it, but it's a good fun game. You can go, you can travel across all three regions. For all I know, they've probably added another region by now since I've been away. They keep talking about putting in Johto, but it's allegedly a hard one to script in for them. But yeah, it's very fun. If you like Pokemon, if you like the old handheld Pokemon games, go give it a try. Yeah. Worst case scenario, you made an account on yet another game you're probably ignoring. Best case scenario, you join, you're having a rock solid good time. You're going through all these regions, you earn all the badges, you take place in the beauty contest, you take place in the little mini games, you find some friends, you create your own Pokemon League. You know, you find a cool place that all of you hang out, and you type into world chat, "Hey, mother lovers, if y'all really think y'all so tough, come fight me and my boys." That's how fun that game is. And of course, over there in the very last little corner, we got Subnautica. I like that game. It scares the hell out of me, but I like it. It's a good one. So as for and more, uh, over here I have Arc Rage, which is a Arc Age private server. It's very fun, very enjoyable. Love it. There is Citadel Forged with Fire, which is basically an Arc knockoff, but for a fantasy setting. You got wizards, you got folks coming at you with giant axes, you got people running around trying to pretend to be Gandalf and stuff. You can tame dragons, you can tame elk, you can tame. Basically, if the mob exists within the game, you can tame it. You can usually ride it, or you get some kind of resource from it, or it can fight for you. It's pretty fun. I have Asheron's Call as a private server, of course, because I only installed that. Ugh, pardon me, because a good friend told me to, and it was okay. Wasn't that into it. I have RuneScape 3. Let's be honest, can we really call that RuneScape? I have Raft, Borderlands 2, Company of Heroes 2. Don't Starve Together. I hate it though. I hate the guts out of that game. Unreal Tournament, Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition, Grand Theft Auto 5, Lands of Lore 1, 2, and 3. Lands of Lore, going back to the 80s, boys. Um, we got Neverwinter Nights. We got Imperion Galactic Survival, Reign of Kings, Chivalry Medieval Warfare. Good game. Um, we have the Elder Scrolls Online. Let me show you why I hate the Elder Scrolls Online right now. Okay. Let me display capture real quick. Left monitor. So first off, now you guys can see all my different games. Got all these emulators. Got their games. Uh, Disclaimer: I have all of these games IRL. Let's see. I have Morrowind. I have. Uh, this is a launcher to make it so that you can play Elder Scrolls Morrowind multiplayer. But anyway, I was showing you guys why I hate Elder Scrolls Online right now. Let's check it out. Okay. So I get to this screen every time. and it doesn't want to go any further until, and watch this, this is what's stupid. Hold up. Wrong thing. Until, now see this down here? I have to turn AVG off. And then it starts working. So the Elder Scrolls Online crew did not think, hey, let's put an exception on there for one of the most used antiviruses ever. And do you know how long it took me to figure that out? Yeah, I turned off my firewall through Windows. I rechecked my internet connection a million times. I went searching on Google, Steam forums, all that for hours, trying to get that crap to work. And once you know, all I had to do was just disable AVG because they were not smart enough to put in an exception. But to quote, uh, God, what's the show? Let's remove that. Remove that. There we go. Let's quote Top Gear, British edition. On that bombshell, until next time. Whatever.